Chapter 2. Paul resolved to preach this gospel as broadly and simply as possible, so their faith would rest not in his wisdom but God's power. But was he not then preaching a mystery, God's wisdom? Certainly a profound one the learned rabbis and Roman rulers could not penetrate, or they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. It required divine light to reveal, eye had not seen, ear not heard what God prepared for those who love him. But God revealed it by his Spirit. None can know God but God's Spirit, as none knows a man but that man's spirit. The merely natural, psychical man does not receive this. A spiritual organ is needed for spiritual communication. Here Paul touches the heart of Alexandrian teaching. Does he refute it? No, he adopts its very principle and terms. A mystery known by the initiated by a spiritual organ rather than mere suke, the spiritual man above others, all granted. Where they differ is only when the mystery becomes not an eternal, universal reality but the possession of particular men, when the initiated become a peculiar set glorying in a peculiar organ rather than an open eye receiving light meant for all. Then the spiritual man becomes exactly the carnal, natural man, for that is what happens when he glorifies his individual soul and separate wisdom above the wisdom that is for all mankind. Paul applies who hath known the mind of the Lord that he might instruct him. What contradiction for the partial, individual mind to comprehend the universal? Is knowledge of God then impossible? A mere dream of the philo school and sympathetic philosophers who sought it as their goal. No, he answers, we have the mind of Christ. We are not bound to the individual soul's measure. The mind that formed and sustains all things is with us. Christ is in us, knowable if we give up ourselves. Chapter 3. He now strikes hard at the Alexandrian conceit while using one of its own distinctions. I fed you with milk, not meat, he says. Ah, they say, then you accept our division of novices and adepts, of those needing sensual forms and those receiving pure essence. Not so fast. It is precisely to you, the aspirants who scorned the vulgar herd and thought yourselves discerning of mysteries, that I gave children's food, because that is all you could bear. You are not, as you fancy, spiritual men, you are plainly carnal, for division is the sign of carnality, self-exaltation the sign of carnality. Setting up earthly teachers keeps you carnal. What are those teachers for? To build you, as a church, on the only foundation humans can stand on. No other foundation can be laid than Jesus Christ. Here is the doctrine of the epistle, the condemnation and the justification of Paulites, Apollosites, Cephasites alike, and the ground of church unity. The foundation is laid, Christ is at humanity's root. Preaching by Apollos or Paul can only declare facts, not change them. Either may preach best, God will judge that. What is built on the foundation, precious or worthless, will be tried by fire, and we ourselves tried by fire. But the foundation remains, and you remain, for you, not our notions, are God's building on this foundation. You are God's temple, defile it and God will destroy the defiler. Rightly seeing your own glory then, give up glorying in wisdom and party leaders. All things are yours, life, death, present, future, Apollos, Cephas, Paul, all nature, all men, for you are Christ's and Christ is God's. Chapter 4. What are Apollos and I, whom you have made into party heads, destroyers of Christ's church? Servants of Christ, stewards of God's mysteries, appointed to share deep truths with the whole household. We are stewards for you, but you are not our judges. God judges us. His light will reveal what each of us is and has done. Our own consciences may not accuse us, but that is not our justification. Give up this futile attempt to judge us, which is only dividing you further. Here Paul lays bare their deepest wound, gently, even with humor, yet cutting sharply, combining affection with severity. You Corinthians have become wise, great judges and kings. Would that we shared your exaltation. But that is not our calling. We apostles are God's outcasts, the offscouring of the earth, perhaps like criminals thrown to beasts when the show's best part is over. He feels the bitterness of these words, contrasting self-conceited pupils with those they should look to as guides. But he claims a father's right to speak, not a sophist's or leader's dignity, which he disclaims as inconsistent with the gospel and the church itself. the paternal claim he asserts because he preached the gospel and the church needs such strict government.